Welcome back to the channel, guys. What a day. What a day. We have a lot to talk about today. We are going to take a break from going through all of the evidence that was unsealed in Wayfair's motion for summary judgment so that we can deal with everything that's happened in the last 24 hours. And as I'm sure you are aware, if you are following this case, why don't you come over then rather than yelling at me from the corner? If you're following this case between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, the judge has granted Blake Lively's request for Jamie Heath's wife the entirety of the birthing video, the entirety of it. And so we're going to deal with that today. I am pausing to deep breathe and working on breath work as I talk about this because, and we'll play Little Girl Attorney's video about this, and she talks about the legal side of things. And I like to stay in my lane. You know, it's like when people come into my channel and they're trying to be PR experts and tell me how I'm wrong about PR. I'm like, dude, do you even go here? Like, do you even work in the industry? So, you know, let me just go a little bit more comfortable. Sorry, guys. I should have been better prepared. I'm not arguing the legal side. I'm not going to argue the legal side. I have no idea, right? And to me, the foundational problem with all of this is the fact that Blake Lively even made this fucking request. The fact that she even had the audacity to make this request is what just sickens me. And we might as well say this. Actually, hi guys, let me say hi to everyone first. I love this community. If you're watching the replay, I put timestamps, don't worry. So if you get triggered by me saying hi to people, which some people do, you can watch the timestamps and skip ahead. Like the stream. Thank you, Leo. You've always got things under control in the chat. I appreciate you so much. Do they have to pay? Yes, Jamie Heath will have to pay her attorney's fees in regards to this motion. All right. How are you guys doing? Let me know where you are tuning in from. If I were Mrs. Heath, I would get a lawyer and file a restraining order. I would be looking at my legal options as well. Mrs. Heath clearly stated that he got her permission to show Blake Lively the one video on his phone. Mrs. owns the rest. Well said, Marilyn. I agree with you 100%. And I'm going to get into that in a second. I might as well just rant, whatever you want to call it. I remember years ago, in the spiritual spaces, you weren't allowed to rant. It was too like below you if you're in the spiritual spaces. I'm not even kidding. You were allowed to riff. So it's so funny. As soon as I say I'm going to rant about this in my head, it always brings me back. I have a very visual mind. So it brings me back to sitting like this, staring at people as I was told, and you know, the mastermind or the group was told why you're not allowed to rant, but you can riff. Potato. So let's just go there first. Hello, Bruce the Moose. It is always so nice to see you. Thank you for letting me know in the comments the other day there was a bird in my video. I had no idea. Thank you for letting me know. I just love Bruce. All right. I'm going to let my thoughts be known, and I'm sure I will let them be known as we go as well, but let's just get right into it. I am seeing some people say, well, he should not have shown the video to her in the first place, and I want to address that. You need context. It is not like they were at Taco fucking Bell and the manager's whipping out a phone of his wife giving birth. You need context. And one of the things that pisses me off the most about the internet these days is it lacks nuance. And the clickbait culture and the news cycle we are in does not help that. We are in an age where the news and just apps in general feed off of dopamine, feed off your emotions. So we are all deeply conditioned, whether you want to admit it or not. We all are. We all have got work to do around this. We're all deeply conditioned to be in black and white thinking and completely miss the nuance. And so when people are saying, well, he should have never shown her the video, we need to look at the context, man. Blake, was giving birth in a movie that was very clearly above her maturity level. So she should have never taken it on. She was giving birth in the movie, and they were discussing how they wanted a scene to go in the movie. Again, it's not Taco Bell where you're taking someone's order, and no shade to anyone that works at Taco Bell, where you're taking someone's order and all of a sudden your manager's like, hey, look, that's my wife giving birth. You might be like, whoa, okay, where did that come from? What happened? And even I would probably not be offended by that, to be quite honest, no matter what job I'm in, but it was contextual. You have to look at the context. They obviously had a vision for how she would be holding the baby, the experience of the birthing scene, etc. They had a vision that they wanted. And especially in, the spiritual circles, the home births are huge these days, which, science is showing also, like, the less stressful at home for mama and baby, etc., etc. They're very proud of that. They're very proud of the birthing of their baby. So he had a clip on his phone that both of them have also posted on the internet that she was very clearly proud of. Jamie Heath was very clearly proud of, as they should be. Any mama giving birth, like, shout out to all the mamas. Sending love to all the moms. There's no way in hell I do not have the pain tolerance to give birth, whether you use, medication, pain meds or not. Shout out to you, mamas. I couldn't do it. My minor was in child psychology. I love children. I love helping children. I've always had a passion for helping children, but cannot birth my own. Pain tolerance isn't there. So they were very proud, as they should be, of that scene. It was posted to Instagram. He showed the portion where, or the image where, she's holding the baby. The baby isn't crowning. It's not a shot up her legs. And even then, I wouldn't care, because Blake still has to give birth in the film. So if it had context and it was relevant to the situation, show it. But the point is, it was a point where she was proudly holding the baby. Jamie Heath describes it as a little towel over the baby, and he showed it to Blake, who had to give birth and hold a baby in the film. They were proud of that portion. Contextually, it made sense. Rather than going on Google and searching up randos giving birth, it made sense to share that piece. So I don't want to see anyone coming in here with this bullshit that he shouldn't have shown it, because you're lacking nuance, and apparently critical thinking is escaping you. What does Elsie say? One of my besties. I love Elsie. Critical thinking is chasing you and you're faster. So maybe slow the fuck down so it can catch up. Because in the context, it made sense for the movie. And it made sense for that situation. Blake is the one who made it fucking weird, which she made everything weird for this whole movie. Because Blake believes everyone is obsessed with her. Everyone is in love with her. Everyone wants her. Everyone's gawking at her. Everyone wants to cop a look, which, by the way, her issue with Jamie Heath wasn't that he copped a look. It was that he looked her in the eyes, which is a whole different racist issue that needs to be dealt with. She didn't say once you looked at my boobs. She said you looked me in the eyes, which is, again, another issue to be dealt with. So it was an approved clip that he showed that was on his phone. Jamie Heath did not have the whole birth video on his phone. I don't care what the law says in regards to this, which we'll watch Little Girl Attorney. I love her. I adore her. What I mean by that is the problem, the rotten roots, the rotten core is Blake Lively, who ever had the fucking sheer audacity to put the judge in that situation to have to rule on this in the first place. Excuse me, man, but who the fuck do you think you are? And I'm sorry, like, if you're offended by cursey words, maybe just tune out for now. Her and her lawyers should have never made that request in the first place. They should have never put the judge in that position. They should have never put Jamie Heath in that position. And I want to tell you something. This is about control. She doesn't care about the video itself. She's probably not even going to watch it, to be quite honest. It's about control. It's about humiliation. It's about showing them who's more powerful and knowing that they're going to feel like shit having to turn it over. That's what it's about for Blake Lively. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds continue to expose themselves for the assholes that they are. Oh my God, this video is going to go nowhere with all the cursey words, by the way, especially at the beginning. So make sure to like, leave a comment, subscribe, because all of the cursey words, this video is getting buried. Especially, if you're gonna have cursey words, you don't put them at the beginning of the video. Sometimes you can get away if it's a little deeper in, but this just pisses me off so much. I'm sorry. I just can't not. So this is about control with Blake. That's it. And so for anyone that wants to say Blake is this representative for women, Blake has the audacity to go to Time 100 and give a speech about how women are safe nowhere. Yeah, because there's people like you in the world, Blake. That's why women aren't safe. They're not even safe in their own home giving birth because of assholes like you who will twist it, manipulate people just to show how much control you actually have, and then bring it into a federal court case. That's why women aren't safe, because of women like you. So you might want to watch your Time 100 video again. And I know you and your husband watch my channel. You might want to watch your Time 100 video again and do some deep thinking over why women aren't safe, even in their own home. So no, don't come to me and say he shouldn't have shown it, because the context made it relevant to show the vibe you were going for. And don't come in here and people are blaming Natasha. I'm seeing people say like it's her fault for being married to Jamie. Pardon the fuck me. Pardon me. Because he was proud of her and their newborn, she should be ashamed of being married to Jamie Heath. That's the narrative Blake wants out. That's the narrative Blake wants to spread, is that he's a creep and Blake's just standing up for women. Blake's got Natasha's back to prove her husband's a creep. This is control. And anyone that's defending Blake, I thought you were all for women. Organizations, hello, that put your names on the dark docket to defend Blakey. You gonna come out and defend Natasha? How egregious this is? No, of course not, because you're all connected, which we proved in all videos. You're all connected to Blake's lawyers. You're all connected to Ezra, who is also a piece of crap, who continuously lies and spins narratives to support Blake's PR. So that's what I have to say about that. It is all about control. It's all about PR, because she got her little minions now and her bots running around about how Jamie's the bad guy here. And, Natasha was victimized by her own husband. This is all Blake and control. It was contextually relevant in that situation to a movie that was way above Blake Lively's emotional intelligence and way above, apparently, her age bracket to be taking on, because she acts like an immature 12-year-old, as does her husband. Maybe they're made for each other. So those are my thoughts. I don't care if legally the ruling had to be made this way or not. This is a sad day. This is a very sad day. Because you're right, Blake, women apparently aren't safe anywhere, even in the safety of their own home. So congratulations for proving your point. But it's because of women like you. So that's all it is. It's control, controlling the narrative. She wants to make them all look like assholes. Just like Blake and Ryan, how they had to respond. Ryan needed his name back on the docket. Why? Because he's pissed that his name came out in Steve Sarowitz and Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni's deposition transcripts. They're children. They're children with FU money. Now I say FU money, where they're going around ruining people that they don't like. Their feelings get hurt and they react. What they need is therapy, the two of them. They need emotional healing. They need spiritual healing. They need something so beyond what I even know exists in this world. Maybe an exorcism on top of the therapy. But they need to deal with that shit. Because taking out anyone that disagrees with you or that you feel you've been slighted by is a disgusting way to live your life. And you're right, Blake, it does mean that women aren't safe. But it's because of you and your husband. So I am so upset, obviously, so upset about this. Let's go over to little girl attorney's video. I don't see one by Not Actually Golden yet. In fairness, she has a 9-minute video up, but I feel like I was like missing something in the beginning. So I was like, I don't know if this is relevant to what's going on right now. So I just got to go on live. I was going to be too late. Do they have video of Jamie showing Blake the video on his phone? Did he show her on set? This really is an invasion of privacy. It's such an invasion of privacy, and it's disgusting. And actually, now that you're saying that, it reminds me of another issue I have is, what does this prove? He already said he showed you the video. What does this prove? Getting all of the video, Blake. Like, again, that's why it is just control. It does not help her story. It does not help her narrative. It doesn't help anything in terms of court. They've already admitted that they showed her the one video that is posted online, but she needs more because it's just control. But I don't know. I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was at like lunch or something, or like they were on set but not filming. But I agree with you. Don't you start. All right, let's see.
The court in the Lively versus Wayfair matter just issued an order regarding the birthing video. Let's break it down. Recall that Lively sought sanctions against Heath for failing to produce all video footage related to the birth video that the court purportedly ordered to be turned over at some point. And she's saying that she's alleging now, or she's claiming now, that she was shown an actual birth video, while Heath, in his deposition and in his filing, says no. And in the complaint that they countersued with, said no, it was a picture of after the birth. So there is a dispute about what video was shown. And Lively is saying it doesn't matter. The court ordered all of these requests to be produced, to be handed over, and they didn't hand over everything. So they should be sanctioned and should have to not be able to even defend themselves with respect to this issue at trial or MSJs. They are not able to offer any evidence. That is the type of draconian sanctions that she requested. The court did what I thought it would do, which is say, okay, hand over the videos, but did not provide those extreme sanctions that Lively wanted. Basically, what the court is saying is that the issue of whether or not this is the video that she was shown or not is not being decided right now. The court is only looking at the specific requests that were moved to compel back in the day, and says that at that point, Heath didn't object to whether or not it was within the bounds of that request. Because they didn't oppose that, it was technically ordered to be handed over, then it's technically ordered for him to be handing over now. That these other videos fall within the definition of concerning, as written in the request. Because it falls within the definition of that request that was not opposed, that he should have handed it over.
I'm just going to pause here because I don't understand in what reality Jamie Heath could ever assume, right? Because it was unopposed. Because he was like, sure, I will show you the video that I showed you. Like, that's fine. I will turn over what I showed you. And I imagine in no realm did they ever think that motion or whatever that Blake put out meant literally the entire video. Jamie Heath did not have like an 8-hour video on his phone. There is no way. So I would have interpreted it, and let me know as well, guys, I would have interpreted it as well that it meant the video like the clip I had on my phone, that the still was where my wife was holding the baby that I showed Blake, the piece I have on my phone. I can't believe the judge and Blake are interpreting this as everything, the whole video. I can't even store an hour worth of video on my phone, let alone the whole video. Like, in what world would it make sense that that order to turn it over meant the entire video? It makes no sense to me.
Let me be abundantly clear that this is not one of those defendant is hiding something type situations. This falls into one side is interpreting a request one way, the other side is interpreting a request in another way. And with Heath not opposing the motion to compel, they presumably thought that they were turning over exactly what they needed to do, which was the video that they admitted that they showed. The judge looked at this and said, well, technically it falls within this greater category. And, you could have opposed back then and said, so I'm just going to say that it falls within it. He's been taking an expansive view of discovery. So no surprise there that he's saying, just turn it over. However, he goes a step further, and I think this is really important. He says, the materials at issue are no doubt extremely sensitive and deeply personal. They therefore fall within the category of materials in litigation that, while potentially discoverable, are still subject to strict confidentiality provisions, preventing public disclosure. And given their sensitivity, it is highly unlikely that their disclosure could ever be warranted. This is extremely important. The court is saying, fine.
She's mad too. Mad at Blake Lively. Ashley, let her get her off her chest. I've never said anyone can't get something off their chest. Where have I said that people can't get something off their chest? No idea where that came from. And if you're talking about little girl attorney, I already said that I don't agree with the law, but I'm not going to correct her on the law because I'm not a lawyer. I can still disagree with the law.
If you need to see these other videos to prove that you saw another video, that's what discovery is for, then fine, you can see the other videos, but these are not going to see the light of day. And if they do, if there is any video that gets leaked to the press or to the public somehow after this, that could be a very, very, very bad thing for Lively's lawyers. Like disbarment. Like truly, it would be the worst thing. Because the court didn't mince its words here. It was like, there is no place for this to see the light of day. Next, the court addresses this request that Heath be prevented from offering evidence on the topic of showing the birth video or any portion thereof. And he just flat out says that request is denied. The court goes through a number of factors under the federal rules that a court weighs when considering what type of sanctions to impose upon someone when it finds that it is in technical violation of a court order. Those factors include the willfulness of noncompliance of the party, the reason for the noncompliance.
So the one thing I just want to say is and we'll look at the order, I'll pull it up, but, and again, not a lawyer, so what do I know? But actually his wording to me made me uncomfortable because his wording was, they therefore fall within the category of materials in litigation that, while potentially discoverable, are still subject to strict confidentiality provisions preventing public disclosure. The materials are subject to the protective order in this case, and given their sensitivity, it is highly unlikely that their disclosure would ever be warranted. He gives an Eckhart versus Fox News collecting cases. And we'll pull this up after. Permanently sealing nude images, even in the context of dispositive motions. But for me, and again, not a lawyer, but if I was Natasha and I saw on the court docket that said highly unlikely, that is not going to be very comforting for me. Like, let me know what you guys think. But to me, especially with how Blake's team has been, highly unlikely would make me stressed.
Compliance, the efficacy of lesser sanctions and achieving the results intended. the duration of the period of non-compliance, and whether the non-compliant party was ever warned of failure to comply. And the court says weighing all these factors goes against the relief that Lively requests. I think this first factor is actually quite important.
Me either.
Because it says that Heath argued that his failure to provide the footage was not willful because of the best reading of the court order. Their argument was that we understood the court order to say turn over birthing video that he agreed or admitted to showing. The court says, well, we don't agree with your interpretation of that. We think that you should have turned over the bigger universe of videos here, but says that this is not enough of a mistake to be egregious, to be considered willful. And the interpretation, Heath's interpretation, was not so mistaken or unreasonable as to give an inference of willfulness. The reason why I think this analysis here is really important is because it's a window into how we're going to see the judge rule on things like Rule 11, which turn on factors similar to this about willfulness, about mistaken understanding, about everything that we saw with.
And again, this isn't me going after little girl attorney. This is me just going after the law. In what way is this mistaken understanding? That's what I can't wrap my head around. Oh my God. This is a video on my phone. I have no problem turning it over because it's the video that was on my phone. Who in their right mind would ever assume that Blake Lively is trying to get her hands on the entirety of it? Like, to me, it's not misunderstanding.
What we're going to see with respect to this new filing that the Lively team filed on Friday about Sarowitz and Abel and the potential or alleged willfulness of wrongdoing that they're being accused of. What I'm trying to say is that the judge is going to give the benefit of the doubt to the other person, to the accused person. For example, an allegation that Sarowitz or Abel willfully sued Lively to retaliate against her, that doesn't seem to be, based off of what I'm reading here, an inference that he is going to be willing to make. Just because the Wayfarer's claims were dismissed isn't going to be enough to prove that these parties filed their lawsuit just to harass Lively. The last factor, and the most important in the court's view, is that lesser sanctions are available and they are sufficient. Lesser sanctions are produce those documents and pay for the costs incurred for Lively having to file this particular request. So, I don't know, $10,000, $7,000, whatever the cost was for Gottlieb to write that letter, that would be the cost. That would be the amount of sanctions that are issued here. And that is very normal. So if you were to win on these kind of requests, it's very normal to win the amount of money it took for you to make the request. Not the amount of money in the world, but just for this specific request. So then what, 2 hours? Max 3. I mean, 3 is a lot, but the 2 hours of time for him to write the letter, maybe another hour to review the opposition. So like 5 hours of time. I mean, really like $10,000 soaking wet. When you're talking about a case where tens of millions of dollars have already likely been spent by both sides, that's a drop in the bucket. Ultimately, Lively, it gets to see all the videos. And frankly, I think it does feel like it was all designed to insult and embarrass Heath. And they accomplished that because now he has to turn over further intimate videos implicating his wife. And yes, I know there are some that say, well, he should have never brought it into the workplace, but he is admitting to what he showed and he produced it. And now he's being forced to dig into the vault and show everything else because there's a dispute as to what Lively saw. And at the end of the day, they're going to need to prove severe or pervasive. And I don't think this is going to prove that. The court.
It looks like there's a video up from Not Actually Golden, so we will pop over there as well. She must have talked about in the 10-minute video that I didn't watch all the way through because I had to jump on. But we'll play the most recent one, which seems to be addressing it. Lively is blind. Yeah, Lively is, it's just, humiliating women, exactly what alleged champions of women's rights do. Yeah, exactly. And that's the wild thing for me about Blake is she spent so much time and so much money trying to rebrand herself as this champion of women's rights. If I was in her shoes, there is no way in hell I would go after the entirety of the videos. I probably wouldn't even ask for the one that I had seen. Who gives a shit? Well, I wouldn't have brought the case in the first place, let's be honest. So I wouldn't even be where she is. But even if I can put myself in the shoes of bringing a case like this, of being so involved in my own world and the universe revolves around me, that I would even think that this is appropriate to get to this place, to even take over a movie and get to this place, I still can't get myself over the hump of, and I would request the entirety of Another Woman's Birth videos. That's a new level of low. Yeah, I do agree. Ezra is even worse. She was supposedly all for women's rights too. Yep. A curse on all of them. I love it. All right, let's see what Not Actually Golden had to say. I think this is going to be just a portion of her thoughts, but we'll just watch this one.
This is right. I was wrong. I didn't read the very last line of the order. They have 3 days to turn it over, so they can't slow roll it. Sorry about that. Never want to spread misinformation.
Oh, she was just correcting herself. So it must be in this video here. But they have 3 days to turn it over. Let's go over to, why don't we go over to that order now and have a look. I can't. Oh, it starts at 4:15. Thank you. Let me hop back over then. We'll go back over. You guys got my back?
Is kind of on no matter how long you've been here.
Okay.
And no matter what you say about our relationship, that is not a friendship I want to be in. This is not the Real Housewives. This is real life. And there are things I do not tolerate. Now, as for this order about the birthing scene, you don't really need me to go through it. Little Girl Attorney did a great video on it. BB Well she actually predicted this ruling. So go watch their videos if you haven't already. I understand why people are frustrated, and they're going to be frustrated, and everyone can have their feelings. I think, looking at it, if I were Heath's attorneys and I saw that this was crafted as you maybe could have objected to this earlier and we wouldn't be here, I would feel bad. I'm not saying they committed malpractice, and everybody misses objections and issues and whatever. Like Lively's people have done it, Wayfair's people have done it, everybody's done it. But when you're reading through this and it says, look, the standard rules of the word concerning, the definition of the word concerning in the local rules make clear that it's broad. And when this request was made and you didn't object and say, we object to the extent that this includes a request for any video other than the one Lively was shown, and that is now the basis for the order, I would feel bad about that. So I'm guessing that Wayfair's lawyers are feeling bad about this because it's possible this could have been prevented with a little bit more deft objecting. Now, I don't know whether he'll comply. He could not. He could say,
you want my honest opinion? I was seeing you guys say the same thing in the chat. There's no fucking way. If I was Natasha, I'd be like, fine, put me in jail. I don't even give a shit.
Hold me in contempt. I'm not turning that thing over. It's possible. I also don't think they necessarily have to rush it because if I remember correctly, neither the MJOP nor the motion for summary judgment filed by Wayfarer mentions that part of it at all, mentions the video at all. So it's not relevant to any of the motions that are up right now. So they could slow roll it and say, let's have these motions ruled on, and then we'll decide if we're going to turn it over. So it'll be interesting to see what they
Okay, so that's what she corrected, because they do literally only have 3 days.
actually do. We probably won't know because it'll be behind the scenes. This language is very much a brushback pitch to the Lively people to say, I better not see that fucking video or any piece of it anywhere at all. When he says, given their sensitivity, it is highly unlikely their disclosure could ever be warranted. That is him saying, if you want this stuff, you better guard it with your life. Because if I see that thing on people.com, we've got a problem.
Okay, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm genuinely curious. Now Blake has got access to this shit, which means she has access to it forever. One, the highly unlikely words. I'm not a huge fan of the highly unlikely words. It would not make me feel good. However, on top of that, wouldn't they have access to this forever? Again, what do I know? Maybe they don't. There is no way this shit would be getting turned over. I'm sorry. I'd be like, throw me in jail. I don't even care. Congratulations on your PR crisis when you throw all of us in jail, because we won't turn over private and intimate videos of Natasha giving birth, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Congratulations on that one. And then I'm sorry. I've had a lot of people pissed at me over the last 10 months saying at times that Justin's PR team has to stop worrying about optics of Blake crying Darvo and go harder on PR. But if they do refuse to turn it over, they have to be ready for the gloves to come the fuck off. Because now you got to say the truth that these two wanted the entirety of the birth videos, and you said no.
So he's letting them know, if you want to have this stuff, you're going to have to treat it like it's made of glass, and you better put it under lock and key, which is fair. I was already having a stressful week. Now I have to deal with that bullshit. But anyway, I'm going to go try to get through, this is my last day.
Okay. So that's what two of the lawyers think. And again, I'm not attacking them for their views. I'm attacking the law. I'm attacking the fact that Blake Lively has obviously found a loophole to still get her dirty little mitts on this. When, sure, I can see I would feel like shit if I were Jamie Heath's Wayfarer's lawyers. And I can also see the realm of existence where you're like, there's no way she means the entirety of the video. I don't know. There's no world where I would have assumed, if I were in Natasha and Jamie Heath's shoes, that she would be going after the entirety of the video. There's just no way. I don't trust them, period, either. Yep, they're both horrible humans. I posted on Instagram, like, Blake better not mess up my stats, because my stats were awesome on Fitbit. No, my heart rate's staying pretty good, despite how upset I am. Okay, so we won't read the whole thing. I mean, it's 6 pages, but they're going into how she was seeking sanctions because he didn't produce the entirety of the video. It says on August 4th, she moved to compel Wayfair Studios to produce a number of documents. Relevant here is she complained that Heath had failed to produce documents responsive to her request regarding her allegations that he had shown her and her assistant a video of his wife giving birth. That is not what he showed her. Well, on the set of It Ends With Us, in her complaint, she alleges that Mr. Heath approached her and her assistant on set and started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. Miss Lively thought he was showing her corn, which is just ridiculous, and stopped him. Mr. Heath explained that the video was his wife giving birth. I had someone comment, and I can't think of who it was, so I apologize because I can't give you credit for this. But someone commented on one of my videos and said, what kind of set is she on? What kind of set and environment is she used to being around if someone walks up to you playing corn? And I had never thought about it like that either, where your first place to go in your mind, if someone plays you a video, is that they're playing corn. I'd be more embarrassed that that's where my mind went immediately than anything else there. And I don't know exactly what happened in the situation, what he had said leading up to it, what the conversation was leading up to it. If someone had said, hey, Jamie, show her the picture of, Natasha holding your newborn or whatever, I still would be more embarrassed that I thought someone was showing me something explicit. And that's where my mind went first. Oh, that's a good point. Where did it hop to? She's okay with Ines, her young daughter, saying those lewd lines in her father's movie. That's a great point too. It's very like what, and her husband talking about getting, was it Justin's name tattooed on his perineum? Like they can say certain things. They can do certain things. They can be explicit in how they talk and what's okay for their minor children. But this is so egregious that not only do you file a complete lawsuit against people, but then you demand the entirety of the birth videos from Jamie Heath's wife. I mean, the person in me that has a degree in psychology and was a counselor for many years really wants to study their minds. But So Wayfair parties complain against Lively, meanwhile, asserts the following. Lively continued with an outrageous and knowingly false suggestion that she was shown corn or naked images of Heath's wife on set. This allegation knowingly and maliciously misrepresents an instance when, in connection with the birthing scene, thank you, Heath, at the director's request, attempted to show Lively a video that demonstrated the director's vision for the scene. And in fairness, I hadn't even read that yet because I haven't gotten through anything. It feels like we haven't gotten through anything, even though we've been covering the evidence that's come out for like 8 hours already. But I haven't read this. And so it's saying exactly what I assumed, because I am capable of critical thinking and nuance and putting puzzle pieces together, which Blake clearly is not capable of. So it looks like, so at the director's request, so there probably was a conversation of maybe Justin saying, because I'm imagining they're talking about Justin there, hey, Heath, Jamie or Heath, whatever he calls him, hey, why don't you show her that video, or why don't you show her that picture? Because that's the vision I have for when she's holding the baby. So it wasn't like he ran up from behind her, snuck up and like shoved a video in her face, which is what she makes it seem, by the way. So he tried to show her to demonstrate the director's vision for the scene. This video, which ultimately was not shown to Lively, even though she stated she'd like to see it later, she was eating. So she also said she wanted to see it later. Is by all accounts beautiful. Since Lively wanted to see it later, what she saw was the first image at the start of the video, which shows Heath's wife, himself, and their baby after his wife gave birth, a natural birth or home birth. So she grounded her motion to compel documents concerning these allegations in her request for productions numbers 2 and 108. Whatever that means. Heath did not oppose the motion to compel responses to these requests, and by order of August 27, 2025, the court granted Lively's motion as unopposed. And again, like, maybe the law needs to change. If the law literally is that broad, where any video that could be connected or related to Natasha Heath giving birth at her house, it means that you have to produce it, then I don't know. I think there's some laws that need to be changed, because that is not okay. And in what realm is that appropriate? So the current dispute is whether the court's order granting the motion to compel required production, not only the post-birth video Heath claims he showed Lively, but also footage which might support Lively's claims that she was shown a video of Heath's wife giving birth, because the court's order encompassed more than the video Heath claims he showed Lively. The additional footage should have been produced. How? If that is all he had on his phone, how in the world Could the order encompass more than the video he claims he showed Lively? More than the video that was on his phone? How is that even possible? And I still don't understand what Lively gets from this. What does she get from this other than humiliating him, embarrassing him and his wife, and control to just be like, haha, now I have your entire birth video. All right. So the Wayfair parties argue that Heath does not dispute that he showed Lively a post-birth video and that the question of what Lively saw will not be resolved by production of all footage. However, Heath does dispute that Lively was shown a video of his wife giving birth. So what's stopping Blake from also being like, this is the part I was shown? That's what I want to know. What stops her from being like, this is the part, and it wasn't the part, but she just for her own narrative and control, she needs to pick a side. Tanya, thank you so much for the support. So now the whole point of this is to look for the most, oh yeah, there you go. We're reading, great minds think alike, is to look for those lewd, derogatory pose of Natasha to prove her point. It's all so dark. I agree. Why else do you need the entire thing? And even then, the thing that I keep going back to is, what does that change, or how does that change anything? It doesn't make sense to me. Thank you again so much for the support. This is a final straw for me. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. It's really stressful to follow this case because it just doesn't feel that like good ends up winning at the end of the day, which, you know, like, having been in branding, marketing, and PR, you know, it's like not necessarily good people that are making the most money or good people that are being seen. And, you know, my dad was a cop growing up, and he got into certain departments within the police department because he wanted to do good work and he wanted to help people. And one of the things that stressed him out near the end was like, the bad guys still win. Like, they what, get a slap on the wrist? And so, you know, I'm not blind to the fact that we do not necessarily live in a world where good prevails. And I think even at the end of the day, if Justin, which I believe if this goes to trial, that Justin will win. I do believe that. I think Blake keeps showing her hand that she has nothing. So she has to go through a woman's entire birth video because she legitimately has nothing. That's what I believe. So I do believe at this point, based on what we can see, that Justin will be victorious. And there's no way to argue that there hasn't been damage done to his reputation. What we have to keep in mind is that, and a lot of people disagree with me on this, but it unfortunately is fact, is the Team Justin community. Yes, it's growing, absolutely. And yes, on social media, Blake and Ryan are getting a lot of pushback. And a piece of that is in earlier videos of this year, you guys remember, I pulled up a lot of the social monitoring tools I use for clients in PR. And a lot of the piece of that is Justin's team has focused more on social media. Blake and Ryan's teams have focused more on legacy media. So yes, they are getting pushback. But at the end of the day, you know, you see, for example, I'm in Canada, and you see stuff about Ryan Reynolds come up, and the general public loves him. They don't know what's going on, the general public. And especially when people are just reading headlines, certain snippets or headlines that, you know, People Magazine or TMZ are pushing, the general public isn't aware of what's going on. And so when I see, again, because he's always here because he goes to Sick Kids, which isn't not just like children's hospitals. It is actually a name of the hospital in Toronto. I've had people say like, no, he's never at our Sick Kids in our town. No, it's like literally a name of a hospital in Toronto. So he's here a lot. He's in Toronto area a lot. He was here recently for, I think, was it March, around that time of this year. He was astroturfing. He showed up doing some stuff, trying to connect himself, get good press in relationship to the tragically hit. But the whole point is, it was 100% good. coverage he was getting. And I don't mean by legacy media, I mean by people in Facebook groups, by people locally excited he was here, people locally excited to see him in the Facebook groups. So, unfortunately, I think Blake has more of an issue, to be honest, especially if Ryan was to ever leave her. But if he plays the long game, I'm not convinced at this point, knowing the industries, I'm not convinced at this point that like Marvel Deadpool fans are against him. I'm not convinced of it at this point. We'll see. We'll see if Marvel and the powers that be are nervous enough about not putting him in a movie or Avengers Doomsday or whatever the one that's coming out next. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they move forward with that. But I don't think the industry is dropping him at this point. And not only that, but I know it's not, because I also have clients in that industry. Thank you so much for the support, Kitten. Wayfair Party wants everything unsealed. Now they will not ask with this video in the discovery. Oh, that's an interesting point. That is a very good point. Thank you for pointing that out. So it might have been a power play that way as well, of like, what are you going to do now? That's a great point. And they're just that vindictive that they would do that. So yeah, I still think it's an uphill battle for Justin. Even if he gets his day in court, I think he's going to have reputational damage long term, even if he gets his day in court and things go in his favor. Because I'm telling you guys, and I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, the general public off of social media, off of like, Instagram People Magazine and Team Justin communities don't know what's going on. Unfortunately, which is sad. I don't enjoy saying that. So it says, in addition to compelling production of the footage, Lively seeks to preclude Heath from offering evidence on the topic of his showing the birth video. Can you imagine being that psychotic where you're like, not only do you have to give me everything, the whole 10-hour footage, everything, but you also can't say anything about it. You can't offer any evidence on the topic. You have got to be a special kind of psychotic to say that, and a special kind of psychotic to be the lawyer that puts that in whatever this is, a motion or whatever they call it. So he denied that request. So, I mean, there's that. Heath can offer evidence on the topic of his showing the birth video. She is just insane. I'm sorry. She needs actual real help. And these factors counsel against the relief Lively seeks. So he's just getting into here. Heath argues that his failure to provide the footage was not willful because the best reading of the court's order was that he was only required to turn over the post-birth video described in the Wayfair complaint. Yes, because that's reasonable. The one on my phone is what I will turn over. And, I think sometimes as well, just like me thinking what's going on in my own head and saying it out loud, I think sometimes as well, when you're not the type of person Blake and Ryan are, that you find it hard to believe, like you find it hard to put yourself in the shoes of someone that would be like, no, I meant literally everything. So he says there's lesser sanctions available. So he says motion granted in part, denied in part. He shall produce the footage within 3 days of the order, and Heath has to pay for her lawyer's fees in relationship to this. And then, thanks, Leo. Yes, like the stream, subscribe, hang out in the chat. It's such a good chat here. If you ever have like trauma around being in chats, we have a high standard for the chat here. The mods are amazing. They keep things friendly. Yeah, I don't know what to tell. Well, I already told you guys what I thought. Blake should have never put the judge or anyone else in this situation in the first place. And what do I know? I'm not a lawyer. Again, I don't know. In my head, I still feel as though there could have been room for the judge to be like, absolutely not. But what do I know? Maybe not. Maybe there is literally no room for that. I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm just giving you my opinion on that. Now, I want to flip over because if you've noticed the last few days, Blake has been doing what Blake does. So I'm going to pull, it's going to start at the front, isn't it? Shoot. Let me try to get this up because it's not on Blake's stories anymore. Because what is she doing? Say it with me because we all know what she does. She crashes out on Instagram when she could be getting bad press. Just give me a second, guys. It's not playing my stories. It's not in Blake's anymore. It ends with lawsuits had reposted it, and it's not showing up there. Apparently, I can't play my own stories. Blake's probably reported my Instagram as well. Okay, there we go. Which, exciting news, guys. When I posted the last Van Zandt video, so about 3 weeks ago, my account got reported. And since that time, I've been under a constant flag where my account is being, what do they call it? Cleaned up to protect the community. But just yesterday, that was removed. So that's exciting. I will see how long after my rant today. We'll see how long that lasts before my account's flagged again. But it took 3 weeks to get a flag off my account for talking about Van Zandt. And that's significant, right? Like all the money from this account goes directly to helping our farm animal sanctuary. We have a farm animal sanctuary for those that are new. We have goats, we have sheep, we have horses, and the goal is to build it out even larger over time, is be able to afford a larger property, help more animals. So when they reported my account and I went down to, like, I'm not even joking, less than 1,000 views, and we were lucky to get anyone getting notifications on my account. Everything was suppressed. All my videos, and I'm not even joking, I could say I love butterflies. Butterflies are amazing, and the video would be flagged. I was getting demonetized across the board on all my videos. I would post something, even if it wasn't very controversial, it was getting demonetized because my account apparently was unsafe. So it was significant. Like that is a very not good time, especially going into winter and having all these animals to take care of. It was not a good time. And that lasted about 3 weeks now. And yeah, that was lifted. So hopefully it stays lifted because it had a massive impact on the account. I mean, when they and even when they did limited monetization on accounts, I'd get like $1. I'm not even shitting you. I'd get $1. So it's to see everything starting to rebound has been really nice. And my account is also part of a program through YouTube where the videos are considered educational because I talk about branding, marketing, and PR. That had been removed. Like I wasn't able to monetize through that, through universities and schools that essentially use my content because I teach about branding, marketing, and PR. So it was a very bad time, but it seems like it's been removed. You know, I just had to go and run my mouth the day after it gets removed. All right. You hanging out with us now, Annie? Yeah. You're a good kid. Okay, so Blake had posted this, and you know, we've talked about this all the time on how if Blake is getting bad headlines, she goes directly to Instagram. She can't help herself. She's as bad as Yizu. Although, I mean, at least Blake controls herself in some respects, I guess. Yizu with Jeremy Renner is just like a train wreck you can't look away from unless she blocks you, which she did me. So Blake posted this and it says it's tagging Covenant House. It says, first things first, our door is open 24/7 and there will always be someone there to greet you. Getting help from Covenant House is completely free. We welcome young people ages 18 to 24 from all backgrounds. Interesting how Blake all of a sudden cares about all backgrounds. Interesting. After everything that's come out about her and racism and how she's treated Jamie Heath and his wife. Interesting that all of a sudden she cares about all backgrounds, right? So it says no one has ever turned away, and she underlined that. Without support of some kind, and you do not have to pass any tests, get a referral, or present any evidence that you are in need of sanctuary. Now, it's also not lost on me anyone else see what I'm about to say, it is also not lost on me that Blake has been getting obliterated over her racist treatment of Jamie Heath. And she shares a post with a black man in it. You cannot tell me that is not intentional. There is no way I will believe it. There's no way I will believe it. And this was a day ago. It just expired. She likely knew what ruling was coming. And so her and Ryan prepared. We're going to go into, I know I said I was not dealing with PR in this case anymore because everyone was just getting hit by all sides. But we're gonna go there today. Why not? Why not? We'll just go there today. But that did not slide past my awareness of how she was getting hit on social media about all of the racist acts she has done, in particular towards Jamie Heath. And like I said, one of the things that caught my eye the most is that she wasn't upset that Jamie Heath was looking at her boobs. She never said, "Oh my God, you looked at my boobs and I'm offended." She said, "You looked me in the eyes." That's what she said. Shannon, thank you so much for the support. Could Jamie say he doesn't own the full videos, not his property? They belong to his wife. Oh, and she wasn't subpoenaed. That's a good question. Let me write it down. I can go to Not Actually Golden and ask her that. She's a friend of mine. Could Jamie? I genuinely don't know. That's a good question. Let me see if I can figure it out. And I can post, if you guys are following me on Instagram, it's just my name, Ashley Brianna Eve with one N. I can post the answer there. Yeah, that's a good question because I'll find out an answer for you. I'm just thinking in that, if I was in that situation, yeah, if my husband was like, I have to turn this over in this case, I'd be like, well, it's not yours to turn over. It's mine. Interesting. I wonder if they could argue that she only gave him that one clip. So that's technically all he had. I'll see what I can find out. And I will circle back with that. But I will post it as soon as I get an answer on Instagram. And then we can also chat about it tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much, MDR. It's so nice to see you. This law defines Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They will never escape this, and no one will ever really respect them. I agree. And, as we said yesterday on the channel, I do think Ryan has to be careful. I think he's got the powers behind him, the powers that be behind him. I mean, was it 20th Century TV literally signed him for a first look deal this year. Amidst all of this, still signed him for a first look deal. But I agree. I do think he has to watch his back, because if the powers that be in Hollywood start turning on him, and they'll never be respected. Yep. I think and I love that point you say that no one will ever really respect them, is the work of those that believe in Justin and believe in Wayfair and everyone associated with it. It's not, the work isn't done as soon as there's a verdict, right? Because like I said, his reputation is taking a hit regardless, because as much as I hate to say it, I have not, when he's in town, and he's frequently, in Muskoka. You guys saw when they were in Muskoka, they used that as PR as well, even though there's not really, there's this one random picture, but anyway, it was just like a setup. They went to a drive-in or whatever, but they were in Muskoka over the summer. A lot of celebrities come up to Muskoka area here, and it's not too far from me either. It's good, like not just good press again, but like the community is really happy that they're here. I just, the work's not done is what I'm getting at there. The work won't be done once there's a verdict, because Justin if he chooses to fully come back to the industry, there's going to be an uphill battle of getting his name back. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. So the quote here says, and this is continuing Blake's stupid ass post: "When I entered the open arms of Covenant House, they lifted me up, cleaned me up, and directed me down the right path. I'm convinced I would have never directed my life without them. And at 18 years old, with almost a decade of repeated homelessness, domestic abuse, She wants to remind you guys, she's a spokesperson for women. She loves women. Sharing women's stories. Isn't that what Justin wanted to do during the marketing of the movie Blake? So, and Nowhere to Turn, they truly were a guiding light. So Blake's just taken these quotes from Covenant House and shared them on her Instagram story. So once again, she is using organizations for her own means, her own ends, and again, an image with a black man as she goes after a black man and his wife. I'm sorry, it just makes me absolutely sick. What do you think, Annie? You got your popcorn? I got you your little papaya. I got your papaya. Do you want that? I know, you like dipping it in your water. Oh, you little turd. She's like, no, Mom, I like dipping my papaya in water. There's no water here to dip it in. You're such a nerd. Where'd it go? All right. Let's go over to Google. Yeah. And he's like, I have popcorn and papaya. Who cares? Hey, you're a good parrot. Okay. I think I have. Yep. And just, public service announcement. If you love Annie and you love parrots, or you're looking for a parrot, there are always lots of parrots at local humane societies and rescue organizations. In the US and Canada specifically, there are tons of rescues for parrots. So if you do love Annie and you want one of your own, then check a local rescue, help one, because I think a lot of people get parrots. This is going to just be our little PSA for the day. People get parrots and they don't realize like how loud and needy they are. I can't leave. Like even on Sundays, I have to make sure I'm like somewhere she can hang out with me, or else she has a panic attack. So I don't think people realize how loud and needy they are. And so they get them and then they just dump them. So anyway, if you're ever interested, just check your local rescue. Right now, it's really sad, the situation, I'm sure across the world, but especially in Canada, like every rescue is just overflowing with animals. Okay. So this is something else that I had it kept like a pin in the back of my mind, because we saw this thing come out about apparently Justin had said, sorry, I missed the SH training. I can't hear a damn thing. Maybe I'm just deaf from a lifetime of going to punk rock concerts and being way too close to the stage. That is very possible. But I can't hear a damn thing. I cannot hear anything that says I missed the SH training. Now, I will say, until the day that he comes out or there's a clearer audio that comes out and he says it, I don't trust that something has not been manipulated by AI. First of all, I do not trust that there is not AI manipulation there. And if it comes out and they release a clear audio of it and he said it, it seems like Blake had created an environment of like joking around and kind of that like back and forth banter. I also don't see how, like for me, it meant that he was SHing people. I also don't see that. But I definitely do not hear those words. Let me see if I can find if anyone shared. Oh, I think Elsie actually shared it. Let's go over to Elsie's, because I can't hear it to save my life. I think it's AI, but let's see. Someone that won't copyright strike me, like TMZ.
Good day, everybody.
I think it's pretty hot. Sexy. Something in your teeth.
Toothpick, please. Viv, do you have a toothpick?
Can you get a toothpick?
Thank you.
He just said, sorry, I guess I missed the situation. Jennifer is going to reach out and touch Justin Baldoni's arm. So to recap, because it's incredibly difficult to hear,
Justin Baldoni is talking to Blake Lively about taking her jacket off of the onesie because she has a long sleeve fleece onesie on and a pretty thick cargo jacket. He says, take it off. It's pretty hot. Like, I'm pretty hot, I think. Again, it's hot in the room. You can see it's hot in the room. He says, I think it looks sexy, or it looks sexy. I think she says, that's not what I'm going for. According to a CRD complaint, you don't actually hear her say that, but we're going to assume that's what she says. Clearly hear him say, I guess I missed the SH meeting. Later on, Justin Baldoni, Jenny Slate, and Blake Lively are in conversation. You hear him turn and say, my apologies, I messed up. I think it's what he says. You definitely hear my apologies. Then I think he says, I messed up. You hear Blake say, it's all good. Jenny Slate reaches out very quickly and touches his forearm, almost like in a comforting, it's all good kind of thing. She says it's all good. She gives him like a tap on the forearm. I'm going to insert like a screenshot of that here because it's very, very fast. Alicia came up, Alicia, who works in the industry, and she's very sure, and I'm sure she's right, that there's going to be audio that comes out because they're already mic'd. You don't hear the director calling for audio, only the camera to go up. So I think one of the things that Shapiro is trying to get on a docket that's too large to come on or whatever, it's going to be the slate for the sound that's supposed to accompany this video where you can hear exactly what everybody says. What she's saying right here, what he says, clearly him apologizing, her saying it's all good. We're going to be able to hear all that. Can I see it with a jacket off? Are you comfortable? I think it's pretty hot.
Sexy. She's got superpowers I do not possess because I can't hear anything. Other than him pointing to the teeth, I can get that piece. But LZ, you have superpowers I don't possess, my love. Ashley, you're coming with fire today, my girl. Oh, thank you. I love this video. You're saying all the right words and with the right tone. Thank you. I'm so angry about this decision. As a mother of 3, this disgusts me. Oh, thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. I try so hard to be neutral, and sometimes it's just, yeah, you lose it. I lost it today, but I'm also happy I did because it was my true feelings. I disagree with LZ on this one. Yeah, I don't hear anything. I don't know. I don't hear it. But I do think that I agree that we will likely get the audio of it, but I don't hear it. And I'm not just saying that because I'm like pro Justin and trying to defend him. I mean, people have got to just assume that I hate all women now, the Blake Lively bots, because I'm also defending Jeremy Renner and his issues with Yeezu. So I'm just paid by all the men in Hollywood to help smear campaigns. It's what I do, apparently, but I can't hear it. I don't know. Okay, so they're running these stories. And at first when I saw this, I was like, well, obviously, I think we all know this is from Blake's side. I mean, it's very obvious it's from Blake's side. They're pushing this narrative. But when you see something like this is called Flood the Zone. It is on every single platform. And while sometimes we like to believe that it just picks up organically like that, it very rarely does. Very rarely. I'm not saying that 100% of the time it doesn't pick up organically like that, but very rarely does it. This tends to be a coordinated PR effort to flood the zone. And funny enough, Blake Lively, after I started saying that she was doing it online, she started accusing Justin of doing it. Her and her husband do it all the time. So when I originally saw this go up, and like, look at the titles are basically the same. I immediately thought something's coming. And so I do wonder if there's a piece of her being worried about Justin's team coming back with PR over her gaining access to the private birth videos of Natasha. I do wonder if she's a little bit concerned about that and flooding the zone with this, but like, this is her and Ryan's whole thing. But look over here. Look how bad they are. Look at how they victimize us constantly and trying to kind of divert attention. I don't know if, I keep going back and forth. Do I think Justin's team will run with PR on this? I don't know, to be honest. I think they should. I think they should have a bit more of aggressive approach in regards to this and paint Blake and Ryan for who they are. And I do think that likely Blake's team is a bit nervous, and that's why they ran with this, and that's why they are doing flood the zone here. I can't, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just thinking about, I go back and forth because Justin's team traditionally, I think it's because there's a real fear of Blake being like, see, this is what they do. See, they run these campaigns. See, they're smearing me. See, Darvo. And this is what she did in the beginning. Every time he did PR, she would hit back with Darvo. The headlines were Abuser's Playbook. Every single time he said anything to defend himself or put any PR out, those were the headlines she would run with. And I do think it made his team a little bit gun shy and a little bit concerned maybe about public perception that he might, be painted more as an abuser. You guys let me know. What do you think? Do you think they're going to run with PR around this, Justin's team? I go back and forth. I think they should, but I don't know if they will. And I think at some point too, I think Justin's team is the type that would double check with Natasha before they ran anything. So I think if she gave the go ahead, then they likely would. I think Natasha should make a comment. That's a great move. That is a great move. Yeah. If she felt comfortable, I think Natasha should come out separately and by herself against Blake Lively. That would be a badass move. That would be a badass move. Oh, I'm with you. I would destroy the video myself as well. And I'd be like, what? It's not Jamie's. It's mine. I'm the person that gave birth. What are you talking about? It's my video. I can do whatever I want with it. He didn't destroy evidence. Natasha, again, I'm not a lawyer. So this is not legal advice. Do not take legal advice from me. I don't know. I wonder if she'd have a leg to stand on with that. If I wasn't subpoenaed, I'm not a part of the case. It's my video. The only portion he owned was that portion. It'd be interesting. Oh, that's a good... I'd love to have for a comment from Natasha to say how violated she feels by this extreme rule. That would be powerful. That'd be very powerful. As a non-party, she could come out and say how much this has harmed her as a woman, as a mother. I think that'd be fantastic. I'm with you guys. You guys are smart. You guys are really good. I think that's a great move. Her coming out, saying how harmed she is as a woman. Because then it's not Justin coming out. It's Natasha coming out. And then what's Blake's move? You're going to go after Natasha on the press, Blake? I think that's a great move. You guys are good. Oh, that's a great point. I would also claim that this is revenge corn tactic. That is, yeah, you guys are good. That's really good. So anyway, I do think Blake intentionally is flooding the zone right now, whether she's expecting his team to go with bad news or maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something else we don't know about that she's afraid is going to come out. Oh, speaking of that, let me see if the video's still up. Whoops. Okay, so I don't see it on public channels still. So you guys have been saying, did you see Be Better came out and said that he has apparently something big on Ryan Reynolds and was looking for a journalist that has like the legal backing, like a legal team behind them to come forward with it. I don't see it on public channels anymore. I do know of the video. I have seen the video. I just don't see it on public channels. And I'd be concerned keeping it live if I'm being honest, just knowing how Blake and Ryan are. But I'll just give you kind of like a breakdown. Allegedly, Be Better, who has been covering this case, has said that there's like some groundbreaking news that could destroy Ryan Reynolds. and looking for a journalist. I'm just going over in my head because I'm in communication with a lot of people and I want to make sure I'm never saying anything that like was said in confidence. Anyway, apparently keep your eyes open. If Be Better can get access to a journalist that he trusts, you might see a massive expose about Ryan Reynolds and some crazy shit that's going down with Ryan Reynolds. Allegedly, my opinion only. I'm not involved. I'm not involved. So keep your eyes open for that. All right, my friends, let's just see. Just going to check a couple things first, see if there's any new news coming out. Yeah, so that's trending under both Justin and Blake's. She's just flooded the zone. She's expecting something to hit, whether it is them coming out with the birth video or something else, but I don't know. All right, my friends, we're at like an hour and 20 minutes. How's everyone feeling? It is a heavy day. It's a heavy day. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Natasha should go on TMZ for an interview on the condition that they post the entire video online. Yeah, like no cuts. They can't edit it. They can't, twist her words. I think that like I'm with all of you guys saying that her coming out would be the move. I hadn't even thought of that. And maybe that's what Blake's afraid of. And like you said, look, the condition is you can't edit it, you can't twist it. I have final say on the headlines. I have final say on the content. Like everything's final say. That would be interesting. Megyn Kelly, yeah, I had thought Megyn Kelly for Be Better. I think she would be a great place. Especially because and that might be the only reason maybe she went because of the connection with Brian Freeman, but I think Megyn Kelly would be a great option for going with a huge expose. I agree with that. Oh, and this shirt, this is from the merch store. It's covered in dog hair. Legacy Media is dead. Emotionally invested in strangers' lawsuits. It's so covered in dog hair. Oh my gosh. The dogs were cuddling with me before I went live. When I first started streaming, because I've been building businesses for a long time, but when I first started streaming pop culture, the amount of people that would leave messages and be like, "Can you get a lint roller? Like I came and watch your videos," and I'm like, "I'm gonna lint it up more. I'm gonna put more lint on my shirt." Get a life. You can't watch because I have lint on my shirt, then you definitely need a new channel. But yes, that is in the merch store. I don't know, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. It's important to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health through this. When you're getting really invested in seeing good prevail and supporting Justin, rulings like this can take a toll on your mental health. We do actually have a 30-day gratitude challenge happening over on Substack. So if you do need a dose of like positivity and grounding and some activities that you can implement in your life that help you through this and help regulate your nervous system through this, then Substack is the place to go. So definitely hang out with us over there. Thank you so much for dropping the link, Leo. And maybe after lives or after doing your pop culture for the day, heading over there, doing a gratitude practice, some vagus nerve toning practices might be beneficial. And I'm going to film a video. I was hoping today, but I'm running behind now. I always say I'm not expecting to talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I never am expecting that. But filming a video to help with vagus nerve toning to help with stress. So that's going to go up as well in the next couple days. It's taken a toll for sure. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very heavy to be involved in it and to want to see good prevail. And you just see Blake and Ryan getting whatever they want. All right, my friends. So nice to see everyone. Even Nick Shapiro cannot save their asses. I wonder if Shapiro is still with them. I imagine so. I think it was like the biggest self-own of Blake and Ryan coming out with, was it Variety article? And be like, we had to bring in the CIA. They're so mean to us. We had to bring in the CIA. And then I ran like a multi-part expose on Shapiro, who was literally the mouthpiece for Airbnb. So she brought in a man that his entire job with Airbnb was to keep victims silent and to not get into the press what happened in Airbnbs. SA, SH, people being killed, covering up bullet holes, getting rid of body parts, like not even joking. We did a multi-part expose on him. He, but again, the champion for women, guys. Blake Lively is the champion for women. She's psycho. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. It's an hour and a half. Like the stream before you go. I'll keep an eye on too what they're doing with PR. It'll be interesting to see if anything shifts or changes after this ruling. But this was all intentional on Blake's part. She was just trying to get ahead of something, obviously trying to get ahead of this narrative. And they're just gross. They're just gross. They're vile human beings. So go over to Substack. Do a gratitude practice today. Do some breathing practices. Ground after all this. And with that, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. She's psycho under your breath. Did you guys hear that? Sometimes I forget I have a nice mic that picks up things like that. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support, my friends. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.